You're sitting there with your dog, everything quiet, nothing really happening. And then it comes. That long, heavy sigh. Most people don't think twice about it. Just tired, just relaxing. But that sound carries more than rest. It's part of how your dog communicates with you in small, easy-to-miss ways. A kind of language hidden inside everyday moments. If you enjoy decoding these little behaviors, staying a bit longer here might feel worth it. And subscribing just means you'll catch more of those small, "Oh wow, that's what that means," moments with your dog. That little sound? It can mean a few very different things depending on the situation. Number 1. The many faces of a dog. Sigh. Most people hear a dog sigh and lock it into one meaning right away. Relaxed. End of story. But the same sound can carry completely different emotional weight depending on what's happening in that exact moment. A sigh in dogs isn't a fixed signal. Research in animal behavior shows that dogs rely heavily on context-based communication, meaning the same action shifts meaning depending on posture, environment, and emotional state. A sigh is part of that flexible system. Think about your own day. A sigh after finishing a long task feels different from a sigh when you're bored in a waiting room. Dogs operate in a similar emotional range, just without words to clarify it. A dog stretched out on the floor, eyes soft, body loose, releasing a slow breath, is sending a completely different message than a dog staring at you, shifting weight, then dropping a sharp sigh. Same behavior, different meaning. And the key is, you're not supposed to decode it from the sound alone. You're meant to read the whole picture. Eyes, ears, body tension, the moment before and after. That's where the meaning sits. When you start noticing that, something changes. You stop guessing and start understanding patterns that were already there the whole time. But what if one of those patterns is actually a very specific emotional message you've been missing this entire time? Number 2. The happy sigh. I feel safe with you. Your dog finally settles after a walk. The house goes quiet. They pick a spot near you, maybe stretch out on their side, and release a slow, deep sigh that almost sounds like they're melting into the floor. That moment feels simple, but it carries something deeper underneath it. That version of a sigh shows up during complete relaxation. Veterinary behavior research links this state to parasympathetic nervous system activation, the part of the body responsible for rest and recovery. In simple terms, your dog's body is shifting into full comfort mode. No alertness, no tension, just safety. Soft eyes, loose jaw, slow breathing often show up right alongside it. You might even notice their body getting heavier, like they've decided they don't need to hold themselves up anymore. That's trust expressed physically. This is the sigh many owners don't realize they're hearing as a kind of feedback. Your dog isn't just resting in the space. They're confirming it feels safe enough to fully let go. And it connects directly to your presence. Dogs are social animals shaped by close human bonds over thousands of years of domestication. When they settle like this near you, it reflects emotional security tied to your role in their world. That post-walk collapse onto the floor followed by a slow sigh, that's satisfaction mixed with trust. A body saying, "I'm okay here." But not every sigh comes from comfort like this. Some of them show up in moments where your dog is awake, alert, and clearly waiting for something to change. Number 3, the bored sigh. Nothing's happening. There's a moment many dog owners miss because it doesn't look urgent at all. Your dog is awake, maybe sitting or lying down, eyes scanning the room, and then comes a sigh that feels almost impatient. Not dramatic, just flat. This often shows up when a dog's environment isn't offering anything engaging. Studies in canine cognition show that intelligent and high-energy breeds especially seek constant mental stimulation. When that need isn't met, they don't explode into behavior right away. It starts with subtle signals first. A shift in posture, a glance toward you, then that quiet exhale. You might notice them staring at you right after. Not emotional, not relaxed. More like a quiet expectation. Something should be happening. This is where boredom lives in dogs. Not in chaos, but in stillness with unmet energy. The body stays calm, but the mind is waiting for input. And it's easy to misunderstand that moment as content rest. But the timing matters. If it happens after long inactivity, no walk, no play, no interaction, that sigh becomes a small request for change in the environment. High-energy working breeds tend to show this more clearly. Border collies, Malinois, even young Labradors often fall into this pattern if their mental workload is too light. Their brains don't switch off easily. They look for tasks, patterns, engagement. That sigh paired with a stare isn't random. It's information. A soft signal saying the day has slowed down too much for their comfort. And when that message doesn't get picked up, the next layer often looks different, more direct, more emotional, and sometimes tied to expectation that didn't go the way they hoped. Number 4, the frustration sigh. That's not what I wanted. Some of the clearest communication from dogs doesn't look like excitement or stress. It looks like disappointment. And it often arrives as a single sharp sigh right after something doesn't go their way. You see it during training sessions when a cue doesn't get rewarded the way they expected. Or when you open the fridge but don't pull out their food. Or when play stops too early for their liking. The body shifts first, a small drop in energy. Then the sigh lands. Canine behavior research connects this type of response to expectation mismatch. In simple terms, your dog builds a prediction based on patterns, walk time, feeding time, play routines. When the outcome doesn't match that prediction, emotional tension shows up briefly before release. That release often comes through a sigh. You might see them turn their head away, flop down harder than usual, or give a quick huff before settling. It's not defiance. It's a moment of emotional recalibration. A reset after anticipation doesn't land where it was aimed. This is where misunderstanding often happens. People read it as stubbornness or lack of interest, but the emotional layer is closer to mild disappointment mixed with confusion. That was supposed to happen differently. Training moments make this especially visible. A dog trying hard, getting mixed signals, then pausing with that long exhale. That's not disengagement. That's processing. And once you start recognizing that pattern, the next step becomes even more important because none of these sighs exist alone. They always sit inside a larger picture your dog is constantly showing you. Number 5, reading the full picture. You hear the sigh again. Same sound, same dog. But this time it means something different than yesterday. That's where most confusion starts. The sound didn't change. The context did. Sighs in dogs only make sense when they're read alongside everything else happening in that moment. Ethology research, the study of animal behavior in natural settings, consistently shows that dogs rely on body language clusters rather than single signals. One behavior alone rarely tells the full story. Look at the tail first. Loose and slow often points toward calm states. Stiff or still can signal uncertainty. Then the ears. Relaxed and slightly to the side usually means comfort, while forward tension can indicate focus or expectation. The sigh sits inside that system, not outside it. Timing matters just as much. A sigh right after activity often reflects recovery. A sigh during inactivity might reflect boredom. A sigh during interaction with you can reflect anticipation or mild frustration, depending on what follows next. And patterns matter more than moments. One sigh doesn't define your dog's mood. Repeated sighs in similar situations start to build a pattern you can actually rely on. That's where understanding really begins to settle in. There's also a rare but important layer. If sighs show up with stiffness, avoidance, or changes in appetite or behavior, that can point toward discomfort or stress. Not common, but worth noticing early rather than ignoring. Most owners start to realize something at this stage. Their dog has been communicating all along. Quietly, consistently, just without translation. And once that awareness clicks, the focus naturally shifts from interpretation to response. What you actually do with what your dog has been telling you this whole time. Number 6, what your dog wants you to do next. Everything so far has been about one thing. Your dog isn't randomly sighing. Each version of that sound carries information about how they're experiencing the moment with you, the environment, and their own needs. So the next step isn't to overthink every breath. It's to respond in a way that matches what you're seeing. When the sigh comes from that calm, settled place, your response can be simple. Stay present. Don't interrupt it. These are moments where your dog is reinforcing emotional security, and your quiet presence actually strengthens that bond even more. When it looks like boredom, the shift is more active. A short walk, a scent game using treats hidden around the room. Even a few minutes of structured training can reset that mental pressure. Canine enrichment studies consistently show that mental engagement reduces restlessness far more effectively than physical exercise alone. When frustration shows up, clarity matters most. Simplify the cue, slow the pace, make expectations easier to follow. Dogs learn through repetition and feedback loops, not frustration spikes. A clearer signal often removes the tension behind that sigh almost immediately. And across all of this, one idea stays consistent. Your dog isn't trying to ignore you or challenge you. They're giving feedback about how the situation feels from their side. That shift changes everything. Because now, the sigh stops being background noise and starts becoming useful information you can actually work with. A sigh is feedback, not background noise. And once that idea settles in, it changes the way you listen to everything your dog does next. Because there's always something quieter still underneath it. Number 7. Listening beyond words. After everything you've noticed, the shift is subtle but permanent. That same sigh you used to ignore now feels different. It's no longer just a sound. It sits inside a bigger system your dog uses every day to stay connected with you. Sighs are part of a wider communication toolkit, alongside posture, gaze, movement, and timing. Dogs don't separate these signals. They blend them into one continuous stream of expression. What you're really seeing is how they experience their world through you. And the more you pay attention, the more familiar it becomes. You start noticing the small pauses before the sigh, the way their body settles afterward, the situations that repeat. That's where understanding deepens into recognition. There's something quietly powerful about that. It turns ordinary moments into shared language, a language that doesn't need training sessions or commands to feel meaningful. So take a moment the next time it happens. Watch what came before it. Watch what comes after. You might notice more than you expected. What kind of sigh does your dog use the most? Share it in the comments. I'd love to hear your story and how it shows up in your everyday life with them.